teacher is Mr. Njero, who is taking you through CRE subject. Our topic today is varieties of suffering. And last week we talked about types of suffering, and we mentioned 3 types of suffering. The first one is physical suffering. We talked about physical suffering. Today we are also going to look at it further to see some of the varieties. We also have mental suffering, and we are going to look at some of the varieties, and also emotional suffering. I believe you can remember what we said, and today we are going to visit the same and do more. Now, without wasting time, I will start by looking at varieties of suffering on the physical suffering. Physical suffering. And I said that physical suffering is pain that is inflicted on human beings' bodies. This one results in pain where somebody can be even made to have a loss of hope. When somebody feels pain, he can even lose some hope, and therefore we say that person can be hopeless. He can also despair if there was something that somebody or one wanted to do. So I also wanted to talk about some behavior, a few behaviors of somebody who is physically suffering. Some of the behaviors of these people, one is crying. When somebody is crying, we automatically say that this person is either feeling pain or this person is not happy. So crying is one of the behaviors that somebody display when he or she is suffering. Something else, you can see somebody is limping on one leg. So this person is not able to walk properly. And the reason why this person cannot walk properly, there is maybe some pain. There is some pain in one leg. We can very fast say that. Something else, we can find some bruises on the body. Automatically we know that bruises are caused when the body is affected, or something has affected the body or the skin, and then we see the bruises. So we know that person is suffering. Something else, we can see somebody with blood oozing out. Whenever we see some blood coming out from parts of the body, we automatically know this person is feeling pain, because for blood to come out, the skin has to be torn, or it has to be cut, so that now it starts coming out. We can also say that when we see somebody with wound on the body, we know that wounds are painful. Those that have ever had pain and those that have ever had wounds, they know that wounds are painful. So those are some of the behaviors that when you see somebody is having those things, you automatically know that this person is feeling some pain. What are some of the causes of this? In order for somebody to feel pain, or in order for somebody to get physically suffering, there are some causes. Some of the causes could be beating or caning. somebody can be caned or can be beaten. That way this person will suffer physically. There could be wars where people fight, countries, when countries fight or communities fight, this one will make some people to suffer physically because their bodies will be affected with the weapons that are being used. Some other things that make people suffer physically are diseases. Different kinds of diseases make people suffer physically. Injuries. People are injured on their bodies. And once they are injuries, people feel physical suffering. Deprivation. Some people may be denied some rights or some important items like food, like medical care, and then the body will continue to suffer. Then we also have what we call physical conflict or fighting. When people fight, they experience physical suffering because the fighting will involve the bodies, the body parts, the hands, maybe the legs, the teeth, and the like. So those are some of the causes that we can say that they cause physical suffering. What could be the way to solve this, or what could be the solution to this physical suffering? Just to mention a few, we have talked about diseases, we have talked about injuries, fightings and the like, and then we can say that one of the solutions could be people can take what we call modern and even traditional medicine. They take the medicines if they are feeling pain on the body. Okay. The other thing is that we appreciate the power of God of healing. We appreciate that God is there to help us when we are physically suffering. So we pray so that people can also get healed. Another one, we can also prevent physical suffering, that is, avoid in all ways fighting, caning, and also diseases of all forms. All forms of fighting, caning, and even diseases of all forms, we try to avoid them. That's another way we can get the solution. And lastly, on this point, I want to say that we take care of those who are suffering. We take care of those who are suffering. If there is somebody who needs some help, we help. If there is somebody who needs any help, either it is food or anything, or even first aid, we administer that so that we help those who are suffering physically. Now, I want to continue to mental suffering. Mental suffering. Mental suffering is any problem that affects the mind. And I'm going to talk about some behavior. When can we say that somebody is suffering mentally or mental suffering? Okay, we have some people who looks confused. People looking confused. This person is not orderly in any way. He's doing things haphazardly, in a hurry. Sometimes it's even falling down as they try to do some activities. Then another one is they talk to themselves. idle or is moving along and is making talks as if they are sharing with somebody. This person has something we call mental suffering. Also, people look dirty. They never have time to wash their clothes, wash their bodies. They are always dirty. These people have something wrong in their minds. Also, we also have people who are violent. Some people are violent when they are mentally suffering. They are violent and even they attack others. And you see that people always run away from them. Also, some others, they also scream. Others can also cut themselves using maybe stones like the ones that we have read in the Bible. In the Bible, there is this in Mark chapter 5, 1 to 10. There is this man who was called Legion. He was cutting himself with stones where he was living in the tombs. So people even cut themselves when they have mental problems. Some others also pick things. They take things from the rubbish pits and also they eat them. Meaning, they think that that place is good for them to get food. So their mind is showing them that this is a place where they can get food, which is not true. Otherwise, those are some of the behaviors that we can observe, and I know. Can somebody tell us if you have ever seen somebody behaving like that? Yes? Very good. Another one? Yes, there? Mary? Good. Thank you. Let us continue. Causes of mental suffering or illness. In other words, we can say it is illness. One of them is diseases that affect the brain. Diseases that affect the brain. We have diseases like malaria, meningitis, things like syphilis. Those diseases mostly affect the brains. We also have injuries to the brain. Some people when they are injured, especially during accidents, some people are hit on the head and then the mind is affected and then they get some other problems. So injuries on the brain, especially during the accident, can cause what we call mental suffering. We also have disturbing experiences. For example, loss of loved ones. If somebody loses a friend, a person who is very close, they are affected in the mind. Sometimes they even daydream. They start even talking. They see this person as if they are still exchanging experiences or wants and experiences. So I want to say that when somebody loses a friend, a very close friend or a relative, their minds are affected. They have some funny behaviors. Some people cry. Some people even they even talk loudly. They even start uttering so many words. Then we have loss of property. When somebody loses property, a car is stolen. It is stolen. Somebody looks for it everywhere, in the pockets, even trying to look at all places. The mind is now affected. The mind is suffering because now he's trying to get ways of how to recover that one. So when they lose property, that one is also mental problem. We can also talk about physical abuse. When somebody is physically abused, they suffer even mentally. They keep on thinking, why is this happening? Why has he done this? Why has she done that? Something else is drug abuse. Those abuse drugs, they are affected, they suffer mentally. because the drugs also affect the mental part of the person. Then I want also to talk about some of the solution to mental suffering. Some of the solutions to mental suffering. One of them is remain faithful and trust God. Remain faithful and trust God. Once one is faithful, you'll have very little interferences. You'll have ample time to pray, to think about your friend, to pray for what you are doing, and God is going to provide peace in your mind. Also, thank God in all situations, good or bad. Anytime, whatever we do, whatever we are in, whether things are good or bad, we are reminded that we should thank God, because God is going to provide a solution in any problem. Even when we have those mental problems, God is going to provide us with what we call peace. Then we should pray for those who are suffering. If we find that somebody has those behaviors that we have just mentioned, we should pray to God that these people get peace, get relieved from the problems that they have in their minds, so that they can continue behaving well. Then we can tell some people a story. Those people who are affected, you can come up with a very good story, tell them the story that will bring their mind to the story, and once they start thinking about that story, that person is able now to get back to normal mental processes. We can give them first aid where possible. If you find that somebody has a mental problem, if there is something that you can do to this person to bring him back to his senses, it is good to give that kind of aid. If it is something that is lacking and you have it, you can just provide, or you can even advise the person to do something else that will bring a relief. Good. That is all about mental suffering. Now, I want to go to the other area, which we are calling emotional suffering. Emotional suffering. Emotional suffering, we can say that this is a time which we remember in the Bible, Jesus suffered emotionally as well. He suffered mentally, emotionally, and also physically during the time of trials and crucifixion. At that time, he was abused, he was slapped, he was called names, but he was able to overcome all this. So emotional suffering is when somebody feels lonely, this person feels rejected, unloved, and helpless. There are times when somebody feels very excited. Those are also emotions. So when somebody is not happy, somebody is very lonely, feeling like rejected, unloved, somebody is even looking side by side to see whether some help can be sought or can be found. That is when we say that somebody has emotions. For example, at the home, do you see your young brothers and sisters sometimes crying? Yes, they cry. They cry. What happens when you go to, when you are in Sunday school, when you are praying with your friends, you are very excited, isn't it? What about when you go to a wedding ceremony? How are people there? Dancing, singing. So that time there is that happiness. Those are emotions. We call them emotions. Now, let me give some behavior of people with emotional suffering. One of them is crying, as I have said. You have seen your brothers, young brothers and sisters crying, especially when they need food or when they are denied something, and even when you are in school. When you are praying, some pupils deny others the praying materials. They start crying and reporting them to the teacher. Those are emotions. So, crying is one of the behavior. Another behavior is weeping. Somebody can be weeping, and it is because they are not feeling well. Either they are sick or something is disturbing their mind. So they weep. That one is an emotional behavior. Some people quarrel. Some children quarrel. You may talk to a child in the morning and they start caning you. They throw things to you. They even want to bite you. The young ones, they even try to bite their friends. That is what you call they quarrel. They always quarrel. Others they shout. When you ask them for something, they shout. Usiniulize. Don't ask me. I don't need it. Don't tell me. Don't tell me like this. They talk so loudly, or when they are in emotions. Some children also do what we call thumb sucking. Thumb sucking. It is a sign, a behavior that shows that this person has emotions. We have also seen some children also biting their nails. Even some big boys and girls like you, they bite their fingernails. That one shows there is something back at the mind they are trying to look at, and it is disturbing them. So it's also an emotional behavior. Now, what are some of the causes of emotional suffering? Some of the causes. One of them can be failure of exams. We have been doing exams here. In the past classes, class 7, class 6, class 5, we have been doing exams. And when somebody fails in the exam, they feel very bad. They feel very bad. They don't want to share that information with their parents, with their friends. Yeah, that is one of the causes. Also, loss of loved ones. People don't want even to talk about that person who has passed on in their families, because it becomes an emotion to each one of the members of the family. Another one is rejection. When somebody is rejected or your ideas are rejected, you feel, this is not what I wanted. These people, maybe they are not getting to understand the situations I'm in, the way I'm feeling. Yeah, so you are rejected, they don't want your company, you feel, and that one will make you also emotional. You have emotional suffering. We also have harassment and bullying. When somebody is harassed, somebody is not peaceful in school, somebody is not peaceful wherever he or she is interacting with the friends. They are mishandling the person, they are calling you names, they are even taking your property. You don't feel comfortable. That way, you are suffering emotionally. There are those that are employed. Suppose somebody is employed and then all of a sudden is sacked. That person feels, why have they done this? Why couldn't they reason with me? Yeah. So that problem, this person cannot be happy at all. He's sad, he's unhappy, he's not feeling comfortable, he's not even ready to face the people. That person is suffering emotionally. There are also conflicts between friends and also family members. What happens when people at home are at loggerheads? People at home are not able to sit and listen together. What happens? Some people start crying. Some people start calling names. Others start shouting. That one is also a cause of emotions. When people at home have caused what we call conflicts, the conflicts at home, they are also causes, because the children also suffer a lot, and they have no way they can save themselves. So they have nowhere to go to. They are caught up. Now, let's also think about solutions to emotional suffering. When we have these emotions, the way we have mentioned them, and the way they come about, what are we supposed to do when we find people in emotional suffering? What are we supposed to do? One of them is counseling. We can refer to them to counselors, or we can also call upon a counselor to come and sit with them so that they can be assisted. Something else is prayers to God to overcome emotional suffering. Yeah, we can pray for those who are emotionally suffering so that God can intervene and bring about solution to that. We also have support from friends. Support from friends. Some friend can come over and take up some of the challenges so that this person can also be able to get back to normal life. For example, if, for example, somebody's house is burnt accidentally, friends can come over. This person now is crying. This person doesn't know what to do with the life now that he has nowhere to live. He has lost all his property. Now, what kind of life am I going to have? Where am I going to be sleeping? What am I going to be eating? So some friends can come over and provide or give some support. Also, relatives can also support, and also the church can also come in. And again, what can we do for those people who have been able to do very well in whatever activities, for example, exams? What do we do? Or children that have done very well in the family, what do we do? Sometimes we give them rewards. We give them rewards. When we give them rewards, they are very happy, and they are very happy. They feel, yes, here we are the ones. We praise them. Oh, yes, Mary. Keep it up. Yes, my girl. Yes, yeah. We call them, even give them good names, and then they feel very, very well, and then they enjoy. We also promote happiness. Try to promote happiness through maybe cheering, clapping, or carrying the winners high, and chanting some slogans. We call them good names, and giving them even other encouraging titles. We also help those who are suffering emotionally in any way that one is able to do. We don't just leave them to suffer. We do something. We also avoid causing emotional suffering to our friends. And also, we encourage friends to control their emotions. Now, Having said that, I also want us to get some questions from what you have been able to do. Now, I have some questions. Question number 1 is asking, question number 1, what lesson do we learn from the story of Job? Job is a person who suffered. We talked about Job last week, and the last lesson. What lesson do we learn from the story of Job? A, to persevere when trials come. B, to give up when tempted by the devil. C, to curse God when we are suffering. D, to stop praying when we are suffering. Yes? Okay. The answer is A, to persevere when trials come. Number 2, when persecuted, Christians should A, consult a witch doctor for protection, hate those who are persecuting them, persecute those who are persecuting them, pray for those who are persecuting them. And the answer here is yes, pray for those who are persecuting them. Question number 3, alcohol and drugs can A, make one wise and tough, affect one's mental ability, C, make one solve problems, and D, help one escape from problems. What is the answer? Yes, the answer is A. The answer is B, sorry. The answer is B, affect one's mental ability. Now, I want to give some work that we do over this work is going to be done as our homework, and we shall mark it next time. So the questions are, which one of the following is not a cause of emotional suffering? A, rejection by friends and relatives. B, loss of loved ones. C, doing well in exams. D, verbal abuse and violence. Get the correct answer there. Number 2, Christians should be ready to suffer for their faith because A, it is normal to suffer. B, Jesus Christ also suffered. C, life can be boring without suffering. And D, they want to show their faith. Get the correct answer. Next lesson we shall mark. Number 3, which one of the following is not a cause of physical pain? A, injury. B, diseases. C, rejection. D, brutality. These questions, write them, we shall be able to mark in the next lesson. Until the next lesson, I was your teacher, Mr. Jero.